You are trapped, not by a cage or a wall or a boss, but by your own brain's biological mandate to keep you paralyzed. We are told constantly to step out of our comfort zones. We are told that growth happens at the edge of fear. But here's the hard truth that nobody wants to admit. You will never be able to leave your comfort zone because your brain is biologically engineered to ensure you stay inside it forever. Let's look at the science. At the center of your brain sits the amygdala. This is your internal alarm system. It is roughly the size of an almond, but it holds the steering wheel of your life. Its primary job is not to make you happy. It is not to make you successful. Its only job is survival. In 1908, two psychologists named Robert Yerkes and John Dodson published a study that defined the Yerkes-Dodson law. They found that peak human performance only happens when we are in a state of relative calm. They discovered that when anxiety increases, performance initially goes up, but only to a point. Once that anxiety threshold is breached, your performance doesn't just plateau, it craters. Your brain knows this. It has spent millions of years evolving to keep your heart rate low and your threats minimized. When you decide to leave your comfort zone, by starting that business, giving that speech, or changing your life, your amygdala doesn't see a growth opportunity. It sees a predator in the bushes. It floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline. It pulls blood away from your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic and long-term planning, and dumps it into your limbs so you can fight or flee. You aren't being lazy when you procrastinate. You aren't being weak when you back down. You are being biologically efficient. You are listening to the exact same evolutionary hardware that kept your ancestors from being eaten by saber-toothed tigers. The comfort zone is not a psychological flaw. It is a homeostatic anchor. Think about the concept of homeostasis. It is the biological process of maintaining a stable internal environment despite external changes. Your body does this with your temperature, your blood sugar, and your pH levels. If you get too hot, you sweat. If you get too cold, you shiver. If you try to force yourself into a state of chronic discomfort, your brain views your personality and your habits exactly like your internal temperature. It will fight to bring you back to your baseline. This is why 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by the second week of February. It is why people who win the lottery often return to their original financial status within 3 to 5 years. It is called the hedonic treadmill. No matter how much you change your environment, your brain has a set point for your comfort. It will recalibrate your expectations and your behaviors until you are right back where you started. But if it's biological, are we doomed? Are we just prisoners of our own biology? The mistake we make is in the language. We treat the comfort zone like a room we can walk out of. We think we can pack a bag, step through the door, and never look back. But the comfort zone is not a room. It is a rubber band. If you pull a rubber band, it stretches. If you pull it too hard, it snaps. If you let go, it returns exactly to its original shape. Most people try to snap their rubber band. They try to do the big leap. They quit their job, move to a new country, or try to overhaul their personality in one weekend. They are fighting 3 million years of evolution with a burst of temporary willpower. They lose every single time. The only way to actually change is to widen the band. You don't leave the comfort zone, you expand it. You do it by moving so slowly that your amygdala doesn't even trigger the alarm. This is the principle of marginal gains, famously championed by Dave Brailsford, the performance director for British cycling. He argued that if you break down everything that goes into riding a bike and improve each small element by just 1%, you will achieve significant growth. He was right. Between 2007 and 2017, British cyclists won 178 world championships and 66 Olympic gold medals. They didn't do it by jumping off a cliff. They did it by changing the seat, the tires, the pillows, and the massage gels. They made the uncomfortable comfortable. If you want to do something new, you have to trick your amygdala. You have to lower the stakes so far that the threat response never fires. If you want to write a book, don't try to write a chapter. Write one sentence. If you want to exercise, don't try to run a mile. Put on your shoes and walk to the end of the driveway. When you do this, something radical happens. You aren't leaving your comfort zone. You are moving the fence. Once you have walked to the end of the driveway every day for a month, that driveway becomes part of your comfort zone. The boundary has shifted. You have successfully left the old version of yourself without ever triggering the biological panic that causes you to retreat. You will never be able to leave your comfort zone because your comfort zone is the architecture of your brain. It is the floor you stand on. But you don't have to stay in the same four walls for your entire life. You can build on top of it. You can renovate. You can add a room. You can expand the floor plan, inch by inch, until the space you inhabit is 10 times larger than the one you started with. The goal isn't to get out. The goal is to grow the boundary so slowly that you eventually forget where the wall used to be. Stop trying to kill your comfort. Start teaching it how to be bigger. If you try to outrun your biology, you will lose. If you learn to work with the machinery, you can endure anything. The question is no longer whether you can escape the prison of your comfort zone. The question is, how much space are you willing to build today?